We go live. We have information of last minute developing in Bolivia, so we are interrupting our transmission to go live with this information that was just posted on X by the Bolivian President, the President of the plurinational state of Bolivia, Luis Alberto Arce Catacora. As you can see, this is a very recent tweet that was published. The President of Bolivia denounces irregular mobilizations of some units of the Bolivian army, asking that democracy must be respected. This information is coming up right now. It's the last minute that we are having a statement on the X account of the President of the Bolivian country that he's denouncing strange movements of several military units of the Bolivian army right now, calling for the respect of democracy. All this comes in the context after on Tuesday, the commander of the Bolivian army, Juan José Zúñiga, lost his position after a series of threats against the former president Evo Morales. This is the context in which this is currently happening after declarations that the army commander delivered. He expressed that Evo Morales cannot be the president of this country. After these threatening statements, the commander of the army, Juan José Zúñiga, was removed from his position. Evo Morales responded on X against those statements that threats like this never brought about democracy if they are not deauthorized by the commander of the armed forces and the Ministry of Defense and the president and the captain general of the armed forces, which is what is being happening right now. This is last news that is being unfolding as we are reading, as we are informing this information to our audience. And the president, after all this context that is being given of tensions, the president of the plurinational state of Bolivia on X is denouncing that sectors of the Bolivian army is carrying out strange movements. All this comes in a context as the country is facing an economic crisis and the shortage of foreign currency, of US dollars and fuels. There are also been announcements of different movements of protests. But this is what's happening now. The president of the plurinational state of Bolivia is denouncing irregular mobilizations of units of the Bolivian army, calling for the respect of democracy. We must remember that Bolivia was the victim recently of also a coup d'etat. That's when they removed the democratically elected President Evo Morales from power, bringing about years of repression and against the Bolivian people that protested on the streets demanding that the democratically elected government return to power, and these people were repressed. These demonstrations were repressed, and there have been large denunciations internationally and nationally of all the human rights abuses committed under that de facto government led by Yanin Sanchez at that moment after the coup d'etat against the former president Evo Morales. And this is something that is happening right now. The president of the plurinational state of Bolivia, Luis Alberto, is denouncing these irregular mobilizations of military units after the removal from his office of the commander of the armed forces of Bolivia, Juan José Zúñiga, following this former commander now, threatening statements against the former president Evo Morales. We are seeing images live from Bolivia. There's last demonstration, mobilization. People are on alert. All the warnings have been given. As there is a moment of uncertainty, we don't have all the information of what is currently happening. What we do know is what the president of the plurinational state of Bolivia has denounced on social media X in a context of tension that is being lived in the South American country right now due to these irregular mobilizations of the army. So as we have been reporting, the president of the plurinational state of Bolivia is denouncing irregular movements of the army, of the Bolivian army, and is calling for democracy to be respected so that the country doesn't have to experience what it did a few years back. We have information from our correspondent from our teleSUR correspondent Freddy Morales. He just posted a tweet saying that the Justice Minister, Ivan Lima, announced that the Ministry of Defense, subject to the Constitution and the law of the armed forces, will rule on the situation of the commander of the armed forces, General Zúñiga, who made harsh criticism and warnings against the former president of Evo Morales. This is a tweet that was published by our teleSUR correspondent a bit earlier. There's another tweet that our correspondent just posted on X. He says that General Juan José Zúñiga continues as commander of the army, and he participated in an event to transfer ranks to members who joined the intelligence arms created in 2023, which started a controversy by criticizing and threatening the former president Evo Morales. So this is what led to the commander's removal from office after these harsh criticisms against the former president of Bolivia, Evo Morales. And today, the president of the plurinational state of Bolivia just posted on X a few minutes ago that there are movements of the Bolivian army that is moving without authorization, irregular movements of the Bolivian army, and this is what is being denounced by the president of the plurinational state of Bolivia, Luis Alberto Arce Catacora. These are the live images we are getting from Bolivia. As this is happening, we are seeing military equipment deployed on the streets. We don't yet know exactly what is happening, but we have the denunciation made by the President Luis Arce of these irregular movements of the Bolivian troops, all following this context of tension, we could say, between the government and the head of the army, the former head of the army after he was removed, the General Juan José Zúñiga, after he stated harsh criticism against the former president Evo Morales, saying that he could never be again the president of Bolivia, something that Evo Morales responded to on his X account, saying that these kind of threats that was done by the former head of the army are not what bring democracy and what strengthens a country.
De la Plaza Murillo, las principales están apostadas frente al Palacio Quemado, desde donde hace algunos años gobernaba el presidente del país, que ahora se trasladó a un edificio contiguo. Una de las tanquetas está arriba de la tanqueta, dentro de la tanqueta.
So we continue with this last minute news as the president of Bolivia, Luis Alberto Arce Catacora, is denouncing irregular movements of the Bolivian army, calling for the respect of democracy.
Una vez más para la presidencia de este país. El ministro de Gobierno hasta hace unos minutos estuvo convocando a gritos al general Zúñiga para que se baje del...
So we are getting information from our correspondent that the government minister, the minister of government, is summoning the former General Zúñiga for a meeting to address this situation.
Donde estoy ahora, hacia la Asamblea Legislativa, ya han lanzado gases lacrimógenos. Por eso la gente está corriendo.
So this is the last information we're getting from Bolivia, as the President Luis Arce denounces the irregular movement of the army and is calling for the respect of democracy. So this is the situation we are seeing on the images that we're getting live from Bolivia. A strong deployment of the military safeguarding the capital.